episode 8 of the Simp Station Internet Football Podcast.
Is it episode 8?
I did. I actually went back and checked this week. It is episode 8.
Wow. Pog.
Yeah, we are back. We're halfway through the regular season, and yet we're still here podcasting. We haven't gotten canceled yet, hopefully.
Yet.
I'm your host, Travioli, hostess with the mostest, joined by my constant co-host, Alec White. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I've won 3 in a row. My last 2 by like a combined 7 points, so we're feeling good.
Not stressful at all.
No.
Yeah. And in the middle, well, he's on the middle for me. I don't know how it looks for y'all. Fresh off of some fantasy dubs, some trivia dubs. It's the king himself, the Discord mod, Spencer Hayes. How you doing, buddy?
Discord admin, by the way.
The Overlord.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to be here. I'd like to thank the fans, all the fans, for sponsoring me through this journey, and yeah, it's great to be here.
Thought you were about to thank the Academy. I was just like, oh god,
not good enough for that.
All right, well, enough with our introductions. It was a really exciting week in fantasy, I think.
I would say
some
so.
matchups were not close, but for the most part, they were all like, not all. There were 3 matchups that were like
pretty close.
Significant. I mean, starting with the Bean Bowl, of course. Y'all never actually made your bet like we promised on the last podcast.
Yeah, we did.
But this is the internet, and we don't have to be held accountable for anything that happens.
True.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, the one-sided bet was I had to like dress up it or something if I lost, but I didn't. So we're chilling.
Yeah, that nice 2.08 victory. I mean,
yeah, baby, not even close.
Yeah. We also have. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I got carried by my 3.88 Ryan Tannehill and my 0.5 Kenyon Drake.
It's so sad. I was doing research for waiver wire pickup of the week. I was like, oh, Wyatt picked up Tannehill. He probably did all right. Right as I was thinking that, I clicked on your name. I was like, nope.
He did not. I also picked up Kenyon Drake. He must have done okay. He didn't.
Gus the bus, man.
He had 11 carries for 5 yards. How's that even possible?
I literally, on my notes, for duds, which I wasn't going to actually include it, but I was like, this is like an honorable mention. 11 carries for 5 yards is a hilarious
I had
stat.
him there, too.
Yeah, I mean, we also had Reeves was the 4th highest scoring team this week and lost again to Banglewood.
We got to put an F in chat for Reeves' boy, Brees Hall.
Oh, yeah. That's rough
a
for
rip.
him. Yeah. His team was already dealing with some injury issues between, mostly just Amon-Ra, St. Brown, but...
I mean, with Brees Hall, he had, like, the best running back room in the league. And now, with that injury, it's looking a little more questionable.
Yeah, luckily Brian Robinson's looking like the feature back. Whether he's going to like get a ton of points every week is still up for debate, but he's looking like he's definitely going to get a lot of the carries.
Yeah.
We also had me versus Sharksy was uncomfortably close. It was 10 points, but Daniel Jones
he popped off.
He popped off.
And Ramondre Stevenson gave you a little scare there on Monday.
Oh, my God. He scored that touchdown in the third quarter. I was like, don't you fucking dare. Don't you fucking dare.
I was really enjoying seeing you and Sharksy kind of at back and forth in the Discord. It was a little
That's
scary
when trash
there,
talk is fun.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm up against all her backups. Now's the time to shit talk.
Yes.
Yeah. Beat them while they're down. We also had some very not interesting matchups. Becca secured her 3rd win of the season over the still 1-win Ag Mills. It was a rough week for him. He's going to bitch about having a hard schedule. He does have a hard schedule.
He's also going to bitch about having a bad... I mean, what?
Yeah, I'm like, you're 11th in scoring. It's kind of hard to complain about winning.
You can't really have an easy schedule.
Like, I know I'm 10th, but... Come on,
man.
We also had Spencer, of course, beating Dalton.
You got to talk about that game. I mean,
Well, you got to talk about it. That's what you're here for.
Well, look,
That's what
I was a
we're paying
little
you
nervous after Thursday Night Football because my projection went from, I think it was like 62, 64% to like 46%.
Yeah.
And, I'm just used to, with fantasy, when that type of thing happens, you just lose all hope and you're convinced that, there's zero chance that you won. But then I remembered who I was playing against. And unfortunately, it came to be that the victory was all but assured when Sunday rolled around. So, yeah.
Yeah, we were playing Mahjong on Thursday, and we're like, we have the game on in the background, and every like 5 minutes, Spencer checks his phone. He's like, "Oh, my projection's down another 1%." I'm so
Zach Ertz just did nothing, and Kamara did okay.
Yeah, it was a little scary for a little bit, but thankfully it worked out.
An honorable mention to Dalton and Beway's tight end getting what was it, like an orbital fracture or whatever it was?
He broke his eye socket and septum. That is disgusting.
Isn't that what the helmets are for? You'd think.
Devin Lloyd was like, "Nah, I'm punching you in the face, bro."
They don't protect against concussions. It's like, what do they do? They can't protect your eyes or your skull. Like, what do they do? They should start playing like rugby or leather helmets. We also had probably the weirdest match. Like, it was actually overall a pretty high score of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, except for Steele.
Yeah.
That was just weird. I mean, his team is...
Lamar just has fallen off a cliff since the first 2 or 3 weeks when he was popping off.
Yeah, I think he's so reliant on Lamar plus Mark Andrews that, like, whenever they don't do anything, his scores just kind of plummet.
Yeah.
Supposedly he is starting Kirk Cousins next week.
That's
Kirk
bold.
Cousins is a top 10 quarterback this year. But benching Lamar Jackson is
that's a
really,
decision.
really bold.
He also has,
maybe it'll work out. I don't know.
Yeah, he also has Mike Williams got injured and DK Metcalf got injured. So he might be in some trouble.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of red on his lineup.
Yeah, I know both the injuries apparently are better than they looked. I definitely thought Metcalf was out, or DK Metcalf was out for the season, but apparently there's still a chance he may play this week.
Yeah, they said he didn't need surgery or something like that.
Yeah,
so,
it was just like a PCL sprain, I think.
Yeah.
And then
Mike Williams is supposed to be like 3 to 4 weeks, I think.
Yeah, but still does have Devonta Smith. But yeah, the depth is really starting to get questioned here for him.
Yep.
Really starting to get questioned.
Agreed.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. All right, on to our awards. Fuck I guess we're still talking about last week, but fuck the actual scores. We're talking about our awards. We're giving medals.
Talking
Spencer,
about the studs.
Of course. I'm not going to say duds this time first, because we always start with studs. But I usually just say duds for some reason. Spencer, who is your
It's because you're dumb.
stud of the week?
Thank you for asking.
Of course. Happy to be here.
I hate to be that guy and give this award to someone on my own team, but I feel like I have to give the Stud of the Week award to my own Tyler Boyd, because I feel like his performance this last week kind of put to rest some of the hate and some of the doubt that some haters out there might have cast on my decision to have him where I did.
One of the co-hosts of this podcast is notorious for shitting on Tyler Boyd this week.
Yeah, I seem to recall hearing in my ear that he was a questionable decision to have in my roster, but I will say that he outperformed his projections last week. I can't speak to how well he'll do in the coming weeks, but I wish that this week I was against a stronger opponent, and then those points could go towards.
Damn.
Well, what I mean to say is,
Spencer committed a murder.
I think I'm going to need that level of performance more towards the tougher matchups later in the season. Is what I'm trying to get at, because his performance hasn't been that great, especially early in the season. So, but I'm
Boyd
of the week to him because he really surpassed expectations.
And Tyler Boyd is known to do this. So the past few seasons, he has these blow-up weeks where he just gets 2 touchdowns and 1,000,000 yards, and then, like, the other 13 weeks, he does, like, 3 points. So,
Well, he paid off for me this week, so I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I think like the whole Bengals offense could honestly be in this section. Mainly Joe Burrow, Tyler Boyd, and Jamar Chase. I think Jamar Chase had 29, Tyler Boyd had 25, Joe Burrow had 39 points. That's a lot of points.
that's a high-powered offense, bro.
That's Sharksy level points.
Okay.
But of course, I didn't give any of them stud of the week.
I wonder who you gave it to.
I gave it to Seattle Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker.
What?
Because
That's not who I
I'm
expected
pretty
you to
sure
say.
Josh Jacobs won it last week. We gave it to him last week, I think. Or we were close. I don't remember. He's obviously an honorable mention for scoring 35, but Kenneth Walker has been a beast for Reeves this season. I know Reeves said he drafted him in every single league he has. That was a sick pick. And almost 29 points this week. Not today, because it's Tuesday. Anyways, yeah, he was a beast.
Yeah, he definitely has come on strong after Penny got injured. And that Seahawks offense in general has just been way better than anybody expected. So it's been a really good surprise for him. And my stud of the week was Josh Jacobs because of the 3 touchdowns and a lot of yards to go along with that. So,
I also had honorable mention as the Dallas defense. 22 points, 5 sacks, 5 turnovers against the Lions, who've been the last few weeks have been shaky, but like they've been a good offense at times this year. So it was a pretty crazy. And of course, Becca had the Dallas defense and Joe Burrow.
She popped off.
Unlucky.
This is where Agmos pauses to go to Discord and start bitching. Oh my god, Becca had 2 stud of the week candidates on her team. Of course I played her this week. It's Joe Burrow's career game.
Got him.
That was pretty good.
It was.
Speaking of Agmils, how about your dud of the week?
Ooh, shit.
Quite the transition.
Spencer, give us your dud.
So my dud of the week, just perusing through everyone's rosters after this week, I feel like I am compelled to mention on Sharksy's team, Michael Gallup, who scored a whopping 0 points in the starting position.
He had to double check.
Yeah, I did actually have to double check that because I was a little surprised to see it. I mean, obviously your game with Sharksy was very close for a lot of it, as seen in the Discord. So when I was reviewing her team and saw that he had 0 points, I was kind of, I guess, I could kind of feel the pain through the screen that Sharksy must have been experiencing. It's never something you want to see having that visible.
Oh yeah, it was a rough one.
Unfortunate. My dud of the week is one that I did not expect to ever be on dud of the week, and that's Mark Andrews. He literally did not have a catch, and his only points were from a rushing attempt, which I did not know Mark Andrews ever had a rushing attempt in his career. So he got 0.4 points.
Yeah, 2 targets the whole day.
Yeah. I don't understand how that even happens.
Yeah.
Smashing.
Yeah. Smashing. Yeah, I mean, Mark Andrews was also my dud of the week. He's been the second best tight end, head and shoulders above everyone but Travis Kelce.
He's the best target on that team by a wide margin. And
he was injured for a large part of the week. I think that's probably part of it. He's only, 2 targets is super low, obviously.
Yeah.
I also, Michael Gallup and Romeo Dobbs for Becca's team. Even though she was the highest scoring team this week, she also had a receiver put up a 0 burger.
Yep.
Tragic.
And then I also had Kenyon Drake with his lovely 11 carries for 5 yards stat.
Love that.
And Drake London, 1 target for 1.4 points.
I had him in there as well. And then another one that is a mainstay in this part of the segment Kyle Pitts.
He wasn't even starting. I was like, I don't even care at this point. Like,
That's true.
he's sitting on the bench. Dalton and BYU dropped Dellinger today and just don't have a tight end in.
I did see that right
Yeah.
before I was going home. I saw that notification.
Yeah, so I'm like, I kind of hope they just don't start a tight end out of protest for Kyle Pitts to see who earns the spot. Partially because I'm against them, and that would help with the securing the dub, but like also just because Kyle Pitts.
And an honorable mention before we move on, just because I love talking about this player playing badly, is Tom Brady.
But
He threw the ball
Listen.
like 50 times and didn't have a touchdown.
go watch the highlight of Mike Evans dropping the ball again and tell me that,
I don't care.
Tom Brady
That was
deserves to be a dub of the
terrible
week.
throw.
We saw that
Terrible
highlight
throw.
together. not
Terrible.
long ago.
It was right in his hands.
Brady's still the GOAT. I lived in Boston for some time. I have to pull out the bandwagon here a little bit. I think Brady's not washed. We got at least a couple more seasons out of him. So
Should have
Oh,
stayed
maybe go get
retired,
my-
old man.
Don't make me go get my my Tom Brady jersey out, okay? Yeah. I also had Cortland Sutton, 3.8 points as a wide receiver 1. It's kind of sus.
yeah, I haven't been too impressed this season. Yeah, I can't remember where I drafted him. I know he was very high. I had drafted him very high, so I'm hopeful that things turn around very soon because
He's huffing the copium.
looking forward, I've got some tough matchups. Hopefully he can start pulling his weight a little bit.
Yeah, Spencer's over here just snorting copium. All right. Manager of the week. Obviously, this one's a very vague award. It's kind of just who we thought deserved this award.
I'll lead it off.
Yeah, go
and
for it.
my manager of the week is actually our guest, Spencer. Because he was the only winner this week that actually played his best lineup.
Okay, all
That'll
right.
do it.
Everybody else left a substantial amount of points on the bench, including me.
I would never.
Yeah,
I mean, look, it's all fantasy is 100% a skill game, and I use 100% of my gray matter to make those decisions. So I appreciate you calling me out on that because that takes
I
a lot.
just got to
of
give you the recognition you deserve.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's definitely appreciated.
Yeah, Spencer's brain is just the Himalayas in there, just like many ridges. Spencer, who is your manager of the week?
Yeah, so I mean, I agree. It's a little vague. I wanted to pick someone that I think is starting to. So I'm just going to say, my manager of the week for this week, I chose to be Becca, and my reason for that is, and I can't point to any objective empirical evidence to support what I'm about to say, but I have a feeling that Becca is going to start winning a lot of games. That is purely based off of, obviously she had a very high scoring performance today or this week, and I just have a feeling that that's going to continue. So I gave her manager of the week because I believe that this is the start of that upward trend. I think that she is not where she should be in the leaderboards, just based on how I view her team and everything. So I give her manager of the week because I think it's the start of a lot of good things to come for her team.
That's fair, dog.
Yeah, I really want her to do better because it'll make our power rankings look a lot better at the end of the year.
True.
'Cause they are not very good right now. For me, no winner really stuck out.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of put two. One was Benglewood, just because I think the depth on his roster is, I think, right now unmatched.
It's really good.
He consistently has 11 to 12 players scoring in like 12 to 15 range, where no one else can really get up consistently above like 8.
Especially with the Gus Edwards coming back, and he's had him stashed the whole year. That makes his depth even better.
Yeah, and he also had the hardest matchup this week in terms of he faced the highest scoring loser this week against Reeves. And then my other one, my honorable mention is Sharksy, because all of her best players are on bye week, and yet she still managed to be I think eighth or ninth in scoring, which obviously isn't very good, but for losing the best quarterback in the league and
The best
I don't know
receiver in the
I'm
league.
pretty sure he's the best. Yeah, pretty sure, like to lose both of those and score 91 is pretty impressive. I lost like my best running back and receiver last week and scored in the 50s. So good job, Sharksy. Shout out, but I couldn't really give you manager of the league because you lost.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it to Bengal. And then, did y'all have any for waiver wire pickup of the week?
I tried to look through
You
it. It was kind of hard for me to read like all the transactions, but one that I guess stood out to me, even though Sharksy did lose, but it looks like Sharksy picked up Chuba Hubbard, and he scored like double his projection, which I thought was a good pickup. I mean, obviously, if she had scored more points with the 0 point pickup, it would have been a little bit better. But yeah, I thought that was a good transaction.
She picked him up Sunday morning too.
Yep. That was
like right before.
That was my waiver wire pickup of the week as well.
Yeah. So I thought it was going to be Daniel Jones, and then I realized she's had Daniel Jones on her team for over a month.
Yep.
I was like,
I also thought that.
I was like, wait, what? Daniel Jones?
I was like, what the? Why is he on a roster?
The other one I think it's important to note is Robbie Gould, 14 points as a kicker.
Solid.
Nice to
Good.
have.
Yeah.
Honorable mention to my boy Eno because he popped off for me again, but it was
He's
last
not
week.
a waiver wire
Or
pickup
2
this
weeks
week,
ago.
sir.
Yeah. But it was an honorable
He's-
mention.
It can't be an honorable mention if you don't qualify.
Yes, it can.
How honorable.
You know what? We don't play by rules here.
Exactly.
This is our own show. Why do we have to play by rules? All right. Any last words on the awards before we move on to our incredibly exciting topic?
No?
Let's do it.
Pog, the silence is completely natural. People are going to listen to it on the way to work and be like, did it cut out? What's going on here? This is actually just us staring at the screen.
Let's just have a 30-second moment of silence to confuse the listeners.
I'm not doing that. That's
Worth a try.
I last, like in many other areas, I lasted about 3 seconds. Wait a minute, stop. Okay, so, for our topic today, we're getting a little spicy. I know we have some fucking weebs that listen to this show.
True. Many.
Steel, I'm looking at you. Right there. Beans, I know you've watched all of Naruto. I'm looking at you. Reeves, I know how much anime you watch. I'm looking at you.
Shout out to the Dank Weeb Shit thread on Discord.
Oh, yes, the very active Dank Weeb Shit thread. So, what we're going to try and do this episode is we're going to turn SimStation Internet Football into an anime. Or, I guess, a TV. I guess it doesn't have to be an anime. Like, it could just be like a TV show. I don't know. My idea, like, everything was related to Avatar The Last Airbender, which isn't even an anime.
What a great
Maybe
anime.
it's not, but whatever. We're going to turn... Why
Best
are
anime.
you stroking your chin like a fucking, like, Dr. Evil? God damn it. So, yeah, we have some, like, character archetypes that we're going to fill in with managers from our league. Keep in mind, some of these are not positive, but we are all friends here. We are Mamaman.
It's jokes. It's just the memes.
Yeah, it's just jokes, except if I insult you, it's 100% personal.
True.
Yeah, we're just going to kind of say fuck it and see how this goes. I don't know. I thought I'd be
Let's
funny.
do it.
Let's start us off. So, every anime, every TV, every work of fiction needs a protagonist. And of course, our anime is going to have a protagonist. Spencer, who is the SimStation Football protagonist?
What a great question. I did a lot of thinking about this. I've seen 1 or 2 animes, so I have a pretty good idea of what makes a good protagonist. So I think the protagonist of our fantasy league is Agmills. And here's why I think Agmills is our fantasy league protagonist. Obviously, we have to mention that Agmills is our reigning fantasy champion. He won last season. He had some clutch games. Yeah, somehow, yeah. But he he did it, right? He's the fantasy champion. So going into this season, he obviously had a lot of eyes on him. He, reigning champ, he wants to do his best. Now, obviously, this season has not gone exactly as he would like, but you can kind of look at this as two extremes, right? Last season was kind of the arc where our protagonist is kicking ass. He's like absolutely kicking ass. He's got the sunglasses. He's wearing the cool leather jacket, riding a motorcycle with like the hot chicks in the back. That was his main arc there. But now we're in that arc where he gets the absolute shit beat out of him. And he's like training in the mountains, like getting his ass beat by like some 90-year-old like trainer. And
Becca, in this case.
He's having to recover. He's having to recover, and he's going to try and build himself back up. So he's on the other extreme now. He went from being fantasy champion to, in his words, the league punching bag. And I view that as a very protagonist-like position to be in, because in both scenarios, you're talked about a lot in the league. We talked about him a lot last season because he was the best, and now this season he's not doing very well, and we like to meme on him for that. So I think those characteristics kind of make him an interesting protagonist. I think it'll be interesting to see if he's able to recover next season. I think all eyes are on him. How is he going to recover from his current position in the league? Because there were a lot of expectations going into this, and now it's not really adding up. So I view him as our protagonist.
See, this is what I meant earlier when I said we're all rooting for Admirals to succeed, and why it was kind of like, eee! But naturally, there is that hero.
Maybe some aren't, but my point is that whether you're rooting for him or not, you're watching him. You want to know what's going to happen. You're tuning in every week to see what the Admirals episode is going to produce, and that's why I think he's the protagonist.
Hey, my point was he's already won. Like, he doesn't need to get up there again. He can have his time in the shitter.
Hey, if Naruto gets like hundreds and hundreds of episodes, who's to say Admirals can't get 100 too? I mean,
true.
We might be in an Admirals dynasty league. We'll see.
Dude, I just when you said that thing about like picturing them like on the motorcycle, like with the leather jacket, I was just picturing Admirals like in that scenario, just like riding down like on his fucking Harley, like
with the mustache. You gotta.
Yeah, of course, and like his aviators. Yeah.
It fits.
All right, Wyatt. Did you have I assume you had a different answer.
I do indeed have a different answer. My protagonist is he has a lot of plot armor. People are coming out of the woodworks, all these supporting characters coming out to help him, telling their best players to have their worst weeks against him every single week. He has the lowest points against in the league by almost 100 points. One of the lowest points for, I think, like...
I'm 10th. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
His name's Travis Johns. But, I mean,
Plot
everybody...
armor.
Yeah, he's got the plot armor. Spencer had it last year, so I guess you could say Spencer was my protagonist last year. But Travis is definitely wearing that crown this year.
Dude, I'm going for the crowned victory royale. But it's like the victory royale where you get like 2 kills right at the end and just do nothing else for the whole time. You
did
hide in the
like
bush.
30 damage.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I got like 2 headshots. Yeah, okay. I guess it's a compliment. I don't know like what I was supposed to say here, but
I mean, you're 5-2, dude. Just accept it.
Bask in the limelight.
You're along with the ride. Who you got?
yeah,
Mr.
maybe 6-2 after
Protagonist.
this week. Unless I give Dalton his 3rd win, that'd be
tragic.
upsetting. So my protagonist was trying to fit someone personality-wise in with the classic anime protagonist. And of course, you always think about shonen shows first. What are their protagonists like? Usually annoying as fuck, or can be at least. A lot of times blonde, or at least dirty blonde.
I wonder where this is going.
But they also go through a lot of growth. And so that's why I chose Reeves. Reeves is my protagonist. From last year to this year, sort of like the opposite of how Spencer saw, where Agmos was at the top and at the bottom. Last year, Reeves was at the bottom. He had all these high hopes and kind of just got smacked down. And this year, even though he's on a 3-loss streak, he's easily one of the best teams in the league, and he's he's kind of in that. He's gone through his training arc this offseason, I guess. He was, up on the mountain with someone beating his ass or whatever. I don't know whatever Spencer said. And now he's like up there. He's having his ups and downs. Like sometimes the villain's they're gonna get you. They're gonna have that dub over you, and that's what Reeves is going through at this time. But by the end, I think Reeves will come back and overcome his bad luck and his demons to fight back and be there at the end.
I could see it.
Yeah. I could see it.
I think that's a pretty. All right, I'm writing notes to send to Hollywood right now. All right, but of course, every story also needs an antagonist, whether it's a villain or just that guy. Like Spencer, who's the villain of this Discord? Or the Fantasy League, I guess, not the Discord.
Freudian slip? What are you trying to say? Yeah, I mean, so, I thought about it. I think we've all in the league had moments where we have been rooted against by others, right? So, for example, with me last season, my plot armor definitely, I think, got really annoying to some people, and they just wanted to see me lose, which is fine. I get it. Sucks to suck. It's a skill gap, but I think if you're looking at this season and you're talking about antagonists, you have to arrive at Sharksy. You have the draft, which of course was covered in depth across all of the league, and I love the podcast. I love you guys. I think you guys are great, but you guys had a very strong opinion of Sharksy's draft, and I think Sharksy took it personally. And, she, with the galaxy brain, ridges, nebula, gray matter, activating all the synapses, high society type gameplay, she was able to absolutely cuff all of you. And I think that she's fueled by the hatred that you guys have for her doing well. You guys, notice I'm not including myself. I am a Sharksy fan. I have never once gone against Sharksy and her performance and how well she's been doing. But I think she's a villain because I think a lot of people, not naming names, don't want her to succeed because they believe that she shouldn't be succeeding because, her draft wasn't good. She might not know a lot about the depth of her roster and stuff like that. But the fact is that she just keeps winning and she can't stop winning and people just get so triggered. And then she goes on Discord and she acts you and she says GG and she sends it. And, you just want to jump off a bridge like the so that is why I think that Sharksy is the villain. I think she's the villain because people can't handle her speed. And, she's going to have to just keep showing up and winning games. And I think she's going to continue to do that. And I think that's what defines her as the villain. Yeah.
Listen, Sharksy just can't beat Johns's, so it's hard for me to say she's a villain when she has no competition against my bloodline.
The Johns are the kryptonite.
Yeah, we're genetically built to beat Sharksy.
Just make it to the playoffs so you can get her out of the championship contention.
All right, Wyatt, who's your villain of the Discord? Or of the?
Well, my villain is Agnals.
Oh,
and it's
hero and a villain.
Yeah, and it's actually for sort of close to the same reasons that he was Spencer's protagonist. So no, hear me out.
Okay.
So in TV shows or anime weeb shit, the villain usually starts out as this super powerful, can't bring them down, they're on top of the world, you think they're unbeatable, which Agnals came into this season as because he was the champion last year, obviously. And then the protagonists and the good guys take him down. And he's been thoroughly taken down this year. And all I want to see is him to be thoroughly taken down every week, including this week when I take his ass down.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
Right,
Agnals
Agnals
is a hero and a villain is not something I expected to hear today.
And when the villain in the shows, when they get beat, they're licking their wounds in their little lair and they're complaining all the time. I mean, that's Agnals.
Are you calling him a lizard? He's got like a lair that he like keeps his gold.
It's a little like the fork time, like
Yeah. He's complaining about his injuries and all his players not getting touchdowns. I mean, that's my villain.
I can see it.
all right. Well, of course, I have a third answer. Somehow we're not alike on any of these. My villain is Dalton.
Content. Oh, shit.
Oh,
Now,
Okay.
Dalton. So part of when you have a villain, it's part about their backstory. How did they become the villain? And Dalton's past sexual history is definitely a dark time.
dark moment for fantasy football.
Very dark. He's got a really dark origin story and some questionable morals. I think that's part of what sets a bad guy apart. You're like, oh, is anyone going to cross the line? Is anyone going to sleep with someone that's married? And it's like, oh, yeah, Dalton will. There's also, he doesn't feel a lot of attachment to some of his players. He tries to trade them away. He
That's
benches
true.
Kyle Pitts for Bellinger. He's ruthless. He also has a pretty cool sidekick, who's, he's like the funny comic relief sidekick in B-Way. As like henchman almost. I just and I think some people, especially my hero, my protagonist, are definitely rooting for Dalton to lose. So yeah, Dalton is my villain for the fantasy league. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I think this person made a great argument on why the other person sucked. But yeah. All right. And we also, I don't really know how this category is defined. There's always like the friend character. Sometimes it's like a love interest. Sometimes it's like like the random side characters in the Star Wars that don't actually serve a purpose. I don't know. I classified it as the best friend. The person that's always there. Wyatt, I'm starting with you this time. Who is your best friend for the character for the fantasy league?
I mean, my best friend character's got to be Beans.
You're a goddamn simp.
She's always there. She's always there when I need her.
We are Simp. This is the
We are
Simp.
Simp.
That's fair.
I mean, I played her this past week, and I'm not gonna lie, I would not have been upset if I lost. I ended up winning, and that's fine. I would have been fine either way. And I think.
Are you lying?
No.
Is she behind you? Is there a gun behind you?
Do I need to blink twice? But yeah, I mean, that's
Okay.
my best friend character.
All right, Spencer, give us a less simpy answer.
Well, his fiance is not in the league, so I think
That's
we're good.
no white knighting from me. So yeah, I mean, so for best friend, let me just take you somewhere. Let me take you and the viewers on a little journey. Okay,
Oh
so
shit! Here we go.
Are we
I
taking
want you to
LSD?
imagine, it's a warm,
Some ayahuasca.
humid Florida day, and you're with your friends tailgating for a football game, right?
All right,
And,
Sounds familiar.
I'm with you.
Yep, you're about to go watch your favorite football team get absolutely shit on and destroyed by
Can relate.
by the Houston Texans, which is neither here nor there. So but you don't know that yet. You're still in a good mood, right? So you're walking to the stadium, and a certain dirty blonde boy, someone else's words, not mine. You strike up a conversation with a certain dirty blonde boy, and you're talking about your fantasy lineups, and you mention, my kicker is injured. I'm not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to play. And this dirty blonde boy says, "Oh, you should." And I'm saying dirty blonde as in like he's dirty and blonde, not dirty blonde. He's like, he's got tied to him. Anyway,
Oh, you dog.
he said, "Oh, you should look into doing a transaction," which I know disgusting, but doing a transaction to get that kicker replaced. And I'm like, "Oh, I don't think I can do that," because for some reason I had in my head that this had already happened, something like that. So this young man goes out of his way to look at the available kickers, right? And not only that, he picks out a kicker for me. He says, "I think that this guy's a great choice for you. And he does the transaction for me on my phone. This young man takes my phone, he does the transaction, and he picks me up this kicker. Now, this kicker ended up scoring a shitload of points that week. And I'm pretty sure I ended up winning. I don't quite remember. I think that in that podcast, that was like a waiver wire pickup honorable chip. But of course, this young man, this young, dirty, blonde man, was Reeves. And I think that Reeves is the best friend of the anime because Reeves is someone who will do that for you. He'll get your phone and he'll talk about your fantasy lineup with you. He'll pick someone who will get you a lot of points. Reeves does tend to be a little vocal in the Discord sometimes, airing his complaints. I actually got really triggered at him, I think a week or two ago, or when I was playing him, because he added me saying like, "Oh, you won GG," and then he fucking beat me. And I got so angry. I was like, "Why would you say that you were losing?" Anyway, does he have his shortcomings? Sure. Does he maybe have a photo album of me on his phone that Becca doesn't know about? I don't know. But the point is,
undoubtedly,
I think that he stands to be the best friend of the Simp Station. I think that he's somebody who will look out for you. I think he's somebody that who will make that choice, and that's why he ranks highly among my lineup for best friend.
So whose photo album is bigger? Yours of Reeves or Reeves' of you?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Moving on. My best friend character was Becca. And, I was going through like the checklist. Like one, I think you could easily fit it into like the Genki girl kind of stereotype for all the weebs out there. For the non-weebs, that's just someone who's like very positive, very energetic, always tries to like hype people up. And then I realized there's also this thing in Hollywood. It's generally called like the token black friend, where it's like you need someone to like make it not whitewashed. I was like, there's one non-white person in the Discord, or in the fantasy league, and it's Becca. So not only does she fit that, she also fits the racial, like we got the Hollywood checklist going on. And yeah, I mean, I think she just, to me, it's pretty clear, even against Alex this week, she was hyping Alex up, like, oh no, you've got this, like, you're going to do great.
She was going to be my second choice, or she is my second choice. She was going to be my first choice. Let's not forget last season when she gave people advice to substitute people who were on the bench who needed to be in, and she's always looking out for people. I think she's definitely up there.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's I think she's a good answer for that. And then, of course, like all shitty anime, our anime needs filler arcs. We've got our plot, every week there's these battles that we engage in. We tear our heart and soul. We put everything we have into the battles. But then there has to be a lot of bullshit in between. That, Beans goes back and skips all the filler, and so these parts won't even make a lot of these rewatches. But on that first watch, it's magical. So talk about some filler arcs. We need to fill some time. We have this slot every fucking week for the next 2 years. We need episodes, people.
I mean, the first filler, the most prominent filler probably has got to be the punishment discussions.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, I don't think I've ever made my disdain for something more vocal than this stupid ass weekly punishment discussion, which somehow it of course became a meme, right? Because we were talking about it so much. I took it upon myself to just say Waffle House every time somebody says,
every single time.
Just like, oh guys, I have a great idea. Why don't we send someone to Waffle House? And for 24 hours, an hour every time you eat a waffle. It's so nauseating.
An hour every time you waffle.
Every time you waffle.
Every That's definitely.
I'll have the eggs. Oh, no, I'll have the bacon. Oh, minus an hour.
That's definitely the closest thing to filler that I've ever seen IRL.
Yes.
Fantasy.
Agreed. And it's going to end up getting backed out of anyways, probably. So, good talk.
And, like a lot of filler, you can kind of just skip to the end and see the summary. And we definitely have a summary now of like, oh, here's the punishment.
Yep.
Yeah.
I also had listed Alex and Dalton's trades. I feel like they do like 2 to 3 trades a week. And none of them ever fucking result in anything because they all get vetoed within an hour. And it's like these little episodes, maybe they're like little shorts, I don't know, like 7 minutes at a time. It's like, oh, look, Dalton trying to trade away Derrick Henry again for a bag of rice. Cool. Like, oh, great story, guys.
And then it's always Agnell's like, why did you guys veto this? Why?
Oh my God, who vetoed?
And then it's Dalton saying, oh my God, these players on my team are so bad. They're just so bad every single time.
It's repetitive. It's like a filler arc, but it does fill a lot of time. It does spark discussion. Not much joy is sparked, but it does spark discussion in the fantasy Discord. And the other one I had was sometimes like the filler episodes like focus on one character at a time. I thought like having Banglewood and B-Way going on these mad depression tilts about their teams would also be pretty good filler. Just like Alex like leaving the camper in Talladega for like 3 hours because the Dolphins lost, or like B-Way AFKing from Discord because Mike Williams got injured. Like,
to be fair, that was when Tua got injured, right?
Yeah.
So that was pretty rough.
It was a rough night, but that'd be some pretty good filler. Any other? I guess you could also talk about like, I don't know if this is a fantasy filler, but like Dalton's sex life conversations, very repetitive. They get nowhere. Can't change the bad guys' morals.
They do make appearances in fantasy, right? I mean, Reeves' team was kind of.
The Dalton's Army of Children is not a reference to something.
Well,
who would have guessed?
I mean, Agnell's weekly complaining sessions, pretty good filler.
Yeah, that's true. That definitely takes up like that horrible like week time slot where everyone's watching the World Cup and like you just got to stick your episode there because you have to.
It's not even like entertaining filler; it's just like trash.
Jesus Christ! All right. Well, I think we've made a pretty solid anime. I think I feel like that's pretty sick. Yeah.
What's one of those like big studios that makes anime get in here?
One of those, of course.
I don't know any names of studios.
Well, then don't bring it up, Wyatt.
Well, I'm telling them to take our idea and pay us.
Dude, if Trigger made this anime, I heard Trigger made Little Witch Academia, but if Trigger made this anime, just make it fucking batshit crazy, have Agnell's be like a ginger communa, I'm here for it. All right. And before we close it out, of course, we're going to go through next week's games. There's some pretty good games on here, honestly. I guess we'll start with Wyatt. You want to talk about your game?
Yeah, I mean, I gave a little foreshadowing earlier about how it's going to be a massacre. I'm playing Agnell's, and he's got his only good player on a bye, so I don't really think. I mean, I know I'm going to eat my words after saying all this shit, but I know I don't think he's really has much of a chance. Partially because my team, especially if DeAndre Swift actually ends up coming back, is actually starting to not be so bad. I am on a 3-game win streak. So ETN coming up has helped me a lot. Swift coming back will help me a lot. Jamar Chase remembered he can catch deep balls and break every tackle. And Jalen Hurts is still a beast. So I think if I had to predict it, I'd say I win by like 34.7.
Wow.
And yeah.
Are you sure you're not the protagonist? That's pretty confident.
Are you about to get like smacked down by the villain?
Oh yeah,
just like
definitely. Yeah.
Eat your fucking words. I mean, it's definitely helpful that two of his best players, his best player playing still is Deebo Samuel, who's injured.
Yeah,
and his quarterback is against the Niners, who have a really good defense. Like it is not the week for Agnell's.
Yeah, Deebo's day-to-day with a hamstring, and the 49ers have their bye week next week, so that means they could give him like a 2-week break and just give him off this week. That would be ideal. You should do that, Kyle Shanahan. Just saying.
Oh God, I think Agnell's would be on literal suicide watch.
Yeah, probably. We also agreed that we're not going to pick up kickers.
Honestly, I'm good for it.
Interesting.
I don't care about collusion, unless it's win trading. Spencer, tell us about your upcoming duel with the rising star, according to you, Becca.
Yeah, that's kind of the issue, right? I say that she's on this upward trend and that she's going to start winning games, and of course I'm against her this week. It's really close, 50-50. I think it's less than a point difference, the projections between us. Honestly, I'm a bit worried for me. Obviously, Mahomes has his bye for me this week, which is pretty big because he's been putting up big numbers. I have a lot of confidence in him that he'll, secure me a lot of points. My wide receivers, I haven't really been that impressed with. Obviously, Boyd had a pop-off game last week, but in general, I just think that the amount of points I get is very unpredictable. I don't know too much about her team, to be honest. I just know that it's going to be really close, and if my hunch is correct that she is on this upward trend, then it's probably going to start with me, which kind of sucks. But at least I'm in a pretty good position right now, being at the towards the top of the leaderboard. So hopefully, she can put off being on that winning trend for at least one more week. That would be ideal.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what's gonna happen with her. Her team is they're so inconsistent. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to when we talked about her in the very first podcast, the Power Rankings podcast, when I said that she had a lot of stock in the Bucks offense being good, and it has not been good, which is a big factor in why she's struggled, I think.
Right.
So if they can right the ship, I definitely think she could be an up-and-comer, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And if Jonathan Taylor can remember what he did last year and do that instead of whatever the hell he's been doing, that would also help her. But I also really like your running backs. Kamara is really good.
Yeah.
Barkley is the best running back in the league, I think. And, yeah, it should be close.
Yeah, I'm happy with them. I think it will be close, and I am optimistic. Thankfully, I'm not in a position where I'm kind of holding on for dear life, so can't complain.
Yeah, I think 5 wins is the lowest. I think you can be confident that you're not going to end in dead last. Yeah. And Spencer and I are both at that 5-win mark, so we're probably not going to have to do the punishment.
You will see.
Fingers crossed. It'd be really awkward if 5
what's
wins
the punishment, by the way?
was.
I was thinking maybe we could go to a Waffle House, and each waffle we eat adds an hour to how many times we have to have this conversation.
Adds an hour. Damn. So, I'm hungry. No eating. All right. Well, I played Dalton this week, and as has been a trend on this podcast since the appearance of the co-managers of Dalton and B-Way's roster, we're kind of just going to skip over this one.
Jesus.
I mean, not skip over, but
yeah.
Actually, there are some things here, like Derrick Henry against the Texans could be pretty good. But Aaron Rodgers is against Buffalo, and they've been the best defense in the league.
Yeah.
He's starting Alex Pierce, who isn't. He's playing with Sam Ehlinger at quarterback. Tony Pollard isn't even a starter. George Pickens is the third wide receiver on the team. There's a lot of really questionable. He has Adam Thielen on the bench. He has Michael Thomas, who may play. I haven't heard about what's happening this week, but
yeah.
So his team could look a lot better.
I've said this before, but every time I see Dalton and B-Way's lineup, it just makes me sad.
It is not great, and there is pop-up potential with the Jags defense.
Oh yeah,
just saying,
especially against that god-awful Denver offense.
Yeah, but no matter what quarterback is back there, it should look good for the Jags defense. All right, Wyatt, talk about Beans' matchup, Wyatt. I'm just picking who's going for what. I don't really care.
All right, we got Beans versus Banglewood. 2 middle-of-the-pack teams. I think Banglewood's been on the upswing lately, I think. He might have 3 wins in a row, maybe? 2? I don't remember.
Yeah, it's 2 or 3.
I think he's been doing really well, and like we talked about earlier, his depth is probably the best in the league, especially with these receivers that he has. he picked up Wandale Robinson off the waiver wire a couple weeks ago, and I think he might be okay. He's really talented, and basically the only receiver on the Giants, so he could end up being something good. Dameon Pierce, I have money on him being the offensive rookie of the year, so that would be cool if that actually happened, and he looks really good. And now that Breece Hall is out, it might happen. Who knows? The only questions I have on his roster are Najee has been not great, partially because the Pittsburgh offense is so bad. And Zeke, he had 2 touchdowns last week, but he's splitting pretty heavily with Pollard, so he is not getting too many opportunities. But he also has Raheem Mostert and Gus Edwards that he could throw in there if needed. And then Bean's roster, she's got T-Law, who's been doing really, really well in fantasy, especially the last 2 weeks with all his rushing touchdowns he's been getting. But he is against the Broncos defense, they're one of the best defenses in the league. So I'm not sure how that's going to go. But she gets Sanders back from the bye. Mixon's been doing better. McLaurin does better with Heineke than Wentz has been doing with them. Waddle can always have a big play. So I think it's going to be a close matchup.
Yeah, I think we may have been last episode with... Wait, who was on last week? Was that... Oh, God, was that Beans?
It was the Beancast, or the Pancast.
Last week or 2 weeks ago, where I think we talked about both these teams as, like, trying to break into the upper echelon of the elite teams. And, yeah, I actually just... Looking at I like both of their rosters a lot. Like, if you told me both these teams finished top 4 once we get to the playoffs, I would not be shocked. It is going to be hard for Beans because arguably her best player is Travis Kelce.
Yeah, and he's on
a bye week this week. He's just so far and away the best tight end in the league. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no clue who is going to win this one. It says 59% in Bengalwood's favor. I don't think it's going to be that far off. Like that.
Yeah,
that's partially
a little high.
That's partially because Beans doesn't have a defense right now because the Chargers are on a bye. So she's got to pick somebody up there, and it'll be a little closer.
I also think a player of note could be the Miami defense this week. Pretty much the Miami players in general, of which there are 4 currently in this game. Waddle, Hill, Tua, and Miami's defense. The Lions have been a train wreck the last few games. Dallas scored 22 on defense against them. Obviously, Dallas is a better defense than Miami, but if they just keep turning the ball over like it's nothing, there'll be a lot of points for Bengalwood and easy touchdowns for any of these Dolphins players.
Yep.
Makes sense.
You know, Spencer, I think it does make sense.
Great analysis.
Expert.
Okay, well, Spencer, I'm putting this one on you.
Oh, boy.
I'm giving you the task of Sharksy versus Biz.
Sharksy versus Biz. Okay, well, I mean, just looking at the Yahoo projections, looks like, of course, we have Sharksy projected to win. I mean, who could have seen that coming?
Galaxy Brain.
Yeah, I mean, the villain's going to continue to gobble up all the victories, and we're going to, be stuck with the scraps. No, I think it's going to be a close matchup. Just looking at Sharksy's lineup, of course, it's stacked. I'm not really too concerned. I do see that Hubbard is questionable. I don't know if that means he's... I don't know about his injury, so I don't know if he's actually questionable, if it's one of those...
He did get a little banged up at the end of the game last week, so he might not play this week.
Yeah, it says minor sprain.
Yeah.
And could come back... Or he could have come back last week if needed. But I don't even know if she's planning on starting. Yeah, but it's going to depend a lot on James Conner, if he's playing or not.
Yep.
Yeah, and of course, Biz has Robinson starting, who is also questionable. So that's a little interesting coming off of the trade, but
yeah, not sure how involved he'll be on his first game there. They might need to give him a week or so. She also has JJ on the bench. I assume she'll be moving that into the starting lineup. I would hope
so. Probably over Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah,
I would assume.
Yeah, but I have to give the advantage here to Sharksy. I think, it just falls in line with everything we've been saying. She's definitely gonna make it.
I would agree.
Yeah, I do think Biz has one thing that's nice, and that is the New England defense against the Jets. We've seen Patriots defenses pop off before. 22 points against the Lions a few weeks ago.
Yep.
13 points last week against the Browns. And the Jets just lost their best offensive player. They got James Robinson, but we don't know how involved he's going to be. And Zach Wilson's been pretty much unable to throw the ball.
Yeah.
They had a pretty the New England defense was not good this week, but the Jets are kind of a nice comeback opponent to play against. Also, random aside, I heard a stat: the Jets are like 5-2 or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? They've beaten one starting quarterback all year.
What?
And that was Aaron Rodgers.
Really?
They've beaten 4 backups.
That's
That's crazy.
Yeah, because it was like the Dolphins backups. It was Brett Ripien for the Broncos. Who else did they play?
The Patriots backup, maybe? Have they played the Patriots yet?
Pause, champ.
Let's look.
They played Cleveland's backup, technically. Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, yeah.
And they played Pittsburgh's backup, Kenny Pickett, that week.
Kenny Pittsburgh.
So technically they've beaten 4. Sorry, random aside, doesn't matter. The Jets are going to get smashed this week. That's my gambling prediction. I think this matchup, I want it to be close because I think Biz's team is solid, but I think there's also the chance that Sharky just runs away with it and restarts her dominant streak. As she's now the highest scoring team in the league by a whopping 2 points over Steele. And I guess speaking of Steele, I will cover his game versus Reeves last. I think this is one of the most interesting. It's hard to tell. Like Yahoo has Reeves as a 64% favorite, which I get, but they have DK Metcalf projected at 1.5 points.
Yeah, because they're not sure if he's going to play.
Yeah, but even if he doesn't, I mean, he doesn't really have another one. I mean, he could move Jacoby Myers into the wide receiver and start like Damian Harris or Antonio Gibson at flex. So he's definitely got options. I'm really just curious to see how Kirk Cousins does. Lamar plays on Thursday, so Steele has to make this decision pretty early in the week and just stick to it.
Yep. He's got to live with it.
Can Steele win without the stack? I think is going to be a huge question mark for the rest of the season. Meanwhile, Reeves is on a 3-loss streak while arguably being the most consistent team in the league.
Yeah. I did get a little bit of an interview in with Reeves earlier today.
An interview?
An interview. Well, I was sitting next to him while I was gobbling on some wings, and I will say that he sounds pretty confident that his team will start to rebound, with the developments with players coming back and whatnot. So I think the man himself would say, if he was here, that he's optimistic for the coming weeks. I don't know how much I align with that viewpoint, but I always support the best friend of the anime.
That must have been a pretty interesting interview because you had Steele on your other side.
Not everyone is privy to the conversation, I guess.
He was holding them back.
I mean, there is the question this week of, Marcus Mariota is starting for Reeves because what's his name? Who's the quarterback that I can't think? Justin Herbert has his bye week. So Marcus Mariota's been really weird. Last week he had his second worst week of the season. They let him throw 13 passes when they were down by 20 the whole time. I think it's one of the worst coaching decisions.
That is a weird fucking team, dude.
Yeah, it's one of the worst coaching decisions I've ever seen in my entire life. I tried to rationalize it the whole day because I'm like, why does Drake London have one target?
Exactly. I'm like, why do they go into the draft this past year, draft Drake London in the top 5, just to not throw him the ball?
To not throw the ball.
Yeah, like why?
They drafted Kyle Pitts 4, and they drafted Drake London 8th or 9th, and they just don't throw the ball.
It just doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah, But Carolina has been a bad defense, so maybe it's like a Mariota, like 2 rushing touchdowns kind of week. Or it's Mariota scores 9 points against Carolina and they fuck his shit up. I don't know. Yeah, I think this one, I'm predicting Steele is going to start plummeting in the scores now. Although maybe this Kirk Cousins thing is what he'd be to shake up his lineup. But I'm going to predict, I think this is, by standings, the closest matchup we have for the week. It's 4-7. All the matchups aren't really 8-6 between Banglewood and B-Way, I guess, or Banglewood and not B-Way, Banglewood and Beans. There are too many damn. There's so many B names. Banglewood, Biz, B-Way, Becca. Am I forgetting one?
Beans.
Yeah, Banglewood, Beans, Biz, B-Way, Becca. Yeah, that's a lot of fucking B's. Okay.
That's a lot of B's.
That's a lot of B's. Admirals is just like, where? Bees!
And I think Reeves should, win the matchup, and also...
Agreed.
I said I don't share his optimism. Really what I mean is I think he's going to start winning games. I just, I have to look out for myself, and I think, it's going to be close between us, hopefully, and later on in the season.
All right. So for our matches of the week, it sounds like all three of us are going Reeves over Steele, and I want you guys to officially pick Beans versus Banglewood. You can say how much you want it by, or you can just go with the flow. I'm going to take Banglewood. I really like Banglewood's team, and he's kind of blood-related to me, so I'm sort of obligated. But I'm also the best man in the other person's wedding, so who knows? There's a lot of mixed obligations here. I'm going to go Banglewood because I think his team is better. There we go.
Well, I'm going to go Beans because I think her team is better.
Ooh, I'm the tiebreaker.
Hard-hitting analysis.
We're the pros.
Oh my.
Spencer, you're the tiebreaker here. I mean, you gotta.
I'm going to go with Banglewood just because I do think his team is. I mean, it's more subjective than anything. Again, I'm not going to point to any evidence.
Spencer, this game is all skill, and
You know what? You're right. It's all skill, but it's all skill from the galaxy brain decision makings, which to someone who is not experienced enough looks purely subjective. Because how could they comprehend the objectivity of these decisions, right? So I think Banglewood's team is pretty solid. So that's why I'll go with them.
All right. Well, I think we've done a good job covering next week. Spencer, thank you for joining us as always. We needed someone to hold down the weeb shit fort, and you delivered. Even though, you took like a 3-month break from anime,
Look,
just recently.
I'm back. That's all that matters. Brady's back. I'm back. I'm here satiating the fans. That's what the people wanted. I give the people what they want. What more can I say?
He's a people pleaser.
Everybody. Enjoy the podcast. Enjoy fantasy this week. Update your annual lists. And I will see you fuckers later. Bye!
Sayonara.